Okay, so we're going to go over solving by elimination. Okay, so we've talked about solving linear equations by substitution. Elimination is another simple way to do stuff. And what it is we can add or subtract entire equations from each other to get where we need to go. Now, in order to do this, I want you to almost think of this similar to some old fraction rules. And in order to use elimination, we have to decide beforehand which variable we're going to eliminate. So we have an x and a y in both. Okay. Part of this is we're going to have to line everything up. Okay. Luckily, this question's been set up for us where everything is already put in the proper order. Let's say, though, I was originally given the same one here, and it said negative y plus 4x. That's not an x. Negative y plus 4x equals negative 14. In elimination, what we do is we stack one equation on top of the other. So we take equation 1, which is our x plus 2y equals 10, and equation 2, which I'm going to write it the red one to start here. Negative y plus 4x equals negative 14. And then we either add the equations or subtract the equations to eliminate something. But in order to do this, the first thing we have to do is we have to make sure all our variables are lined up. And are we lined up right now?
No.
No, we're not, right? So we're going to rearrange this to the black version of equation 2 because that will help set everything up for us. So let's get rid of that. And to line it up, 4x minus y equals negative 14. Okay, which variable would you like to eliminate? Would you like to eliminate the y's or would you like to eliminate the x's?
The y's.
Okay, let's eliminate the y's. In order to do this, the coefficients have to have the same absolute value. Okay, what I mean by that is the coefficients, don't worry about the operation of the coefficient, just the value. Now, the coefficient's value here is technically 1. So are these the same?
No.
No. How can I change this 1 to a 2?
Multiply it by 2?
Yeah, exactly. Now, the only thing is, whatever we do to one number in the equation, we have to do to everything. So what we're going to do is multiply the entire second equation by the number 2. So now we're going to rewrite this, okay? And what it's going to read is equation 1, which is x plus 2y equals 10. And equation 2, and what I'm going to say is I'm just going to write this here, you don't have to, that we multiplied it by 2. And the new equation is going to read, well, what is 2 times 4x?
8x.
8x. Negative y times 2?
Negative 2y.
Yep. And negative 14 started there, okay?
Okay.
All right, so we've got that part down. The next thing we're going to do here is we have to decide which operation we're going to use to eliminate that variable, okay? So we have our y's here, and they're now the same coefficient, which is great. What operation would cause 2 or positive 2y to eliminate negative 2y?
Division?
No, we're only going to deal with 2 types of operations. It's either going to be addition or subtract. So would I add these together to eliminate them, or would I subtract them from each other to eliminate
Subtract.
them? Okay, so I'm going to write this on the side here.
Okay.
Okay. 2 subtract negative 2. Do you know what those two things become when they're close like that? We can substitute them with a positive term. So, did that eliminate those two?
Yes.
Is it 0? Are they gone?
Oh, no.
No. So, that wasn't the operation we needed to use. We need to use not subtraction, but addition in this one. Okay? So, if we do 2 plus negative 2, it's the same as saying 2 minus 2. And what I mean by eliminating is I mean creating a 0. Okay? So, what we're doing here in this idea is we're going to add these together. So think of it like we're adding each of the columns with all of the other ones. Okay. So because there's technically a 1 here, what is 1x plus 8x going to be?
9x.
Excellent. Positive 2y plus negative 2y. What's going to happen? And we talked about it. 0. Now, I could technically write this as like 0y, but 0 times anything is 0, so it kind of eliminates itself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. And finally, the last one, we're going to add 10 and negative 28, which is going to give us our negative 18. So now that that's eliminated, we just kind of move this over, and it'll say 9x is equal to negative 18. Okay. And how do we get x by itself? What would we do from here?
Divide.
Divide. We got to divide by what number?
9.
Okay, so x is equal to 18 divided by 9, which is going to give us a value of what for x?
-2.
-2. Now, from here, a lot of the times they tell you, okay, it's really easy just to substitute the number 2 in and solve. But we're going to go about this a little more difficult. I want to now do the exact same thing we did before, but I want to use elimination to eliminate the x, okay? So I'm going to rewrite the two original equations like we had before, and I'll just do it right here on the right, okay? Equation 1 was x plus 2y equals 10, and equation 2 was 4x minus y is equal to -14. This time we want to eliminate the x's. What did we say about elimination? What has to be the same in the equations?
The coefficient.
Coefficient. So which equation should we change? Equation 1 or equation 2?
Equation 1.
Yeah, and what should we do to it?
Multiply by 4.
Exactly, we're going to multiply it by 4. Okay? So we're going to multiply that whole equation by 4. So I'm going to ask you each one as we go through it, okay? So think about it beforehand as I go to write it down. Number 1, okay? And for equation 1, we're going to multiply by 4. 4 times x, what does that give us?
4x.
Excellent. 4 times positive 2, what does that give us?
8y.
8y, very good. And finally, 4 times our 10.
40.
Excellent, okay? Our other equation, we keep the same. 4x minus y equals -14. Now, here's the trick again. We're trying to eliminate the x's. What operation, and remember before we used addition to get rid of things, what operation will eliminate a positive 4 and a positive 4? If we add two positive 4s together, are we going to get a 0?
No.
No. What would we need to do?
Subtract.
That's right. So when we're eliminating, we either add both equations or we subtract them. We make a choice. We're going to subtract this one. So 4x subtract 4x will give us what?
0.
0. Do I need to write it in?
No.
Not important. There's a little trick here. 8 subtract -1. I'll write it on the side here. 8 subtract -1. It's the same as 8 plus 1. So what's that going to give us in this case?
A 9.
Yeah, so we get 9y. And the last one, same idea, a little tricky. 40 subtract -14, which is the same as 40 plus 14. So that's going to give us...
54.
Yeah, you got it. Great. What's the next step here?
Divide by 9.
You got it. Do you know this off the top of your head?
6.
Hey, y is 6. So we just discovered that the point of intersection between these two is -2 and 6. That's our x and our y value.